The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Jess De Los Santos. The Health Department says we must be prepared for the possibility of another surge in COVID-19 cases. This as more cases of the Delta variant have been recorded in the country over the weekend. Faith Del Mundo reports.
Taguig City recorded its first case of the more transmissible Delta variant of COVID-19. This is based on the City Epidemiology and Disease Surveillance Unit's latest report on Friday. However, the CSDU failed to mention when the said case was first detected. Taguig City also recorded cases of the Alpha and Beta COVID variants last month. 2 Alpha variant cases from June 3 to 7 and 3 Beta variant cases from June 4 to 5. Meanwhile, the Department of Health also reported 16 new Delta variant cases on Friday, 11 of which were local cases or did not have any travel history outside the Philippines. 2 of them are in Manila, 1 of them died, while 5 were in Cagayan de Oro City, 1 in Misamis Oriental, 2 in Antique, and 1 in Pampanga. Contact tracing efforts are still ongoing in areas where the Delta variant was detected. Genome sequencing has also been strengthened in some places where local surges of COVID-19 infections have been observed.
We have to remember na itong whole genome sequencing po natin is purposive sampling at ganito rin naman po ang ginagawa sa ibang bansa na kinukuha na natin yung mga may high index of suspicion. Kailangan lang po natin i-expand so that we can see the whole picture for this Delta variant.
Because of these developments, the DOH says that the recent directive of allowing children 5 and up in open spaces should be reassessed.
There is another factor that has to be considered kung saan nakadetect tayo ng Delta variant. Pero katulad ng lagi naming sinasabi, kapag tayo ay nagkakaroon ng easing of restrictions, there are safeguards in place. So kailangan lang talaga, let us all follow the safety protocol so that we can be protected.
Just this weekend, Metro Manila mayors convened to discuss whether to suspend or revoke the policy. The DOH also told hospitals to prepare to expand their COVID bed capacity and keep an inventory of medical supplies should there be a surge in Delta variant cases. For News 5, Faith Del Mundo, we are One News.
In line with the celebration of PWD Week, the Taguig LGU puts up a vaccination site focusing on the differently abled. Special lanes are also set up for PWDs in other inoculation venues. Ryan Ang with a report.
The city government of Taguig has allotted a place and time specifically for persons with disability to receive their COVID-19 vaccines. More than 300 PWDs were inoculated at Mercado del Lago Hall in Taguig City on Saturday. The LGU was also reserved service vehicles to fetch and bring them back to their respective barangays after the vaccination. They were also given health kits which contains vitamins, medicines, alcohol, and face mask.
So most of them, hirap pumila, mahirap umalis sa bahay. So nag-allot kami na special place, tsaka special time para sunduin namin sila sa mga bahay nila. Hatid natin dito, tapos para hindi na sila mahirapang pumila, per barangay may oras po silang allotted. Sinadya po namin na malaki po yung time na inalat namin per barangay sa maliit na number of persons para as much as possible maging convenient para sa kanila yung pagpabakuna.
Although Taguig already has a list of PWDs in their city, those who may not be included may still walk in.
Kasi nag-announce po kami sa social media account namin na paminsan po merong pumupunta na PWDs na wala sa listahan. As much as possible, ina-accommodate din po namin sila.
Vanji Laganlan, a mother of a PWD who has a hearing impairment, said they both stayed at home for more than a year due to COVID-19 fear. But because of the LGU's initiative, her son has finally received his vaccine. She said they felt safe because they did not have to fall in line and the area was well ventilated.
As a ma'am po, malaking tulong po kasi kami po kami lumalabas. Ngayon lang po. Saka laking opportunity po na mayroong ganitong project.
Bakit po magkano kabilis? Mabilis ba? Hindi gano'n kasi...
Mabilis lang po eh. Kasi kahapon tumawag sila and then kinamagahan, eto na po.
Other PWDs are also thanking the Taguig LGU.
Mabilis lang po. Parang pumikit ka lang saglit tapos na.
Pero yung pila po, wala namang pila.
Wala naman po. Tuloy-tuloy naman po.
The local government said they also have existing special lanes for PWDs in other vaccination sites across the city. For News 5, Ryan Ang, We are One News.
The country welcomed more shipments of COVID-19 shots over the weekend. The second batch of Johnson & Johnson vaccines arrived on Saturday. That's more than 1.6 million doses donated by the United States through the COVAX facility. Meanwhile, some 1.5 million doses of Sinovac also arrived in the country over the weekend. Authorities say the shots may be administered as soon as its Certificate of Analysis, or COA, is released in a week. The latest surge in coronavirus cases is widening the global gap between countries with and without MRNA access. Bruce Einhorn tells us why this is significant in Bloomberg Quick Take.
So mRNA is a technology that before the pandemic was really not used, right? It was just in trial stages and had never been approved anywhere for anything. But of course, during the pandemic, it's emerged as top-grade COVID vaccines, proven to be the most effective. Also, significantly, mRNA technology, especially now that it's proven itself in COVID, is something that's going to be of use in all sorts of other things. Cancer, flu, Zika, you name it. Other than the United States and a couple of countries in Europe, nobody else makes mRNA vaccines at the moment. It's entirely dominated by Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna, the three companies that have production in the US and in parts of Europe. It's not yet in China. There are some projects underway. There's a company in China that has a clinical trial that's supposed to start soon. There are efforts to develop the vaccine to get mRNA production underway in a lot of countries. The WHO and the South African government announced a plan last month to try to make South Africa a hub for mRNA vaccine production. South Korea has ambitions. Indonesia has ambitions. Malaysia, Australia, a lot of places are funding mRNA vaccine technology research. You can't just get started on this because it's such a new technology. It's hard to do. Obviously, lots of things in vaccines are, the know-how is still quite limited in terms of who has the ability to do this. So in order to make that work, they need a technology partner. They need a company that's willing to share the technology with them. That's why a lot of countries are funding the research themselves, because they figure it's a national security issue. It's important to have a domestic supply base of mRNA vaccine, and they don't want to rely on anybody else. So in order to do that, they're funding it themselves. The big problem is that that takes a long time. It's not going to be something that, if you're not working with an established player, somebody who already has the technology, if you're trying to do it from scratch, it's going to take years and years.
It's day 2 of the reopening of the Dolomite Beach along Manila Bay. Let's check on the situation with Justine Punsalang reporting live from Manila.
Just the so-called Manila Bay Sands is once again open to the public this morning, following the overcrowding of people who visited this place last year. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources and the Manila Police District hatched up a plan to make sure that the people's visit is safer. There is only one entry point and a separate exit point for those who want to personally see the Dolomite Sand along Manila Bay. According to the police, this is a measure to prevent incoming and outgoing visitors from converging. Authorities are also limiting the number of people allowed at the beach to 120 at a time, and they can only stay for a maximum of 5 minutes. There is a buzzer amplified throughout the beach to signal that the time is up. DNR volunteers are scattered all over the area to remind visitors of the health protocols to be followed, such as wearing a face mask and face shield. Swimming and wading in the Manila Bay is strictly prohibited. To make sure that this will be followed, there are roped bollards few meters away from the shore, as well as signages to remind visitors. The Dolomite Beach is open to public until tomorrow, as originally agreed upon by the MPD and the DNR. Visitors can come here until 11 this morning, and then there will be a break, and the resumption will be at 3 p.m. until 5 p.m. Just perhaps because today is a Monday, people who want to visit the Dolomite Beach is just starting to trickle in. Also, the rain is threatening to pour, and once rain pours, this will cause a halt in the entry of visitors here at the Dolomite Beach. Jess?
All right, thank you very much for those updates. Justine Punsalang reporting live from Manila Bay. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 12 noon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Jess De Los Santos. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe. Philippines, we are One News.